Well, hello there, I'm CordellPrime. This is a toy review on the Thundercats Classic Lion-O. Starting off, of course, with the packaging. You can see that at the top, it says Thundercats Classic with the logo. You have the window where you see Lion-O displayed with the Thundercats logo in the background. Here at the bottom, it claims that he has 18 points of articulation. Here on the side, got a really cool photo of Lion-O saying Thundercats Ho! On the back, here at the top, it says Thundercats Classic with another cool photo of Lion-O. It says here, if I can get it, there we go. Roaring back into action, these highly detailed and articulated figures are based on the classic 1980s animated Thundercats series. That's pretty cool. Got a photo of Lion-O there, the figure actually. Then it says create action poses. He includes sword, dagger, claw shield, and extra hand. And at the bottom, you have the other figure in the classics line, Tigra, which I do have, and I have previously reviewed. And these 6-inch figures for the new 2011 cartoon, that being Lion-O, Panthro, and Mumra. And it says, of course, collect them all. So that's it for the packaging. And now onto the figure himself. Detail-wise, this thing is full of it. He's an 8-inch scale by Bandai, and of course, they can fit a lot of the detail in an 8-inch figure. You see, you have the boots, they're painted with the silver trim around them. Some people have said that the flesh-colored joints in there bothers them. Doesn't seem to bother me. The muscles in his legs are molded in. He has his classic armor from the actual cartoon. You see there that he's got his belt painted silver and the gold. Mine is a little mispainted on the logo, which does kind of suck, but it's no big deal. You can see that he has his abs that are molded into his stomach. He has his gloves that are painted on. And in the head, he has a fairly accurate head sculpt to the cartoon. The way his eyes are done, the expression on his face, fairly accurate to the way Lion-O looked in the actual cartoon. Even down to the fact that his mane has this look as if it's blowing in the wind. That is an accurate detail to the original cartoon. For articulation, this guy has a lot of it. Head rotates all the way around. It's on a ball joint at the top of the neck, and at the base of the neck it's on kind of like a hinge joint, but mine tends to spring back up. I don't know what that is, but I'm afraid if I force it I might break it. It's only on mine, I know that. It's not a common problem. Arms rotate all the way around, they go in and out. He rotates at the bicep, he bends at the elbow, he rotates at the wrist, and 2 places actually, because he has a ball joint at the end and this like hinge rotation joint here too, so you can get that. It's kind of like an ab crunch joint, as you can see, as well as one in the waist. And with the belt being a separate piece, you can get him to move around. So that is really cool. Legs go forward, they go back. Well, not really much. They go in and out. He rotates at the thigh, and once again, this muscle is molded over the actual joint. He has a double jointed knee. Rotates at the boot. Ankles tilt forward and back, as well as side to side, which is a very well-liked joint. So, very well articulated. If I can talk. It's a very well articulated figure. Accessory-wise, he comes with, of course, the Sword of Omens in both its smaller dagger form and the larger form. This is basically the Sword of Omens before he draws it and does the whole Thundercats Ho thing. You can see that it is fairly well molded with the details like in the handle, even in the Eye of Thundera there, in the hilt. Along with the blade, it's very soft plastic, but this one doesn't seem to have any problems, so that's cool. Then we come to the larger one, and this one is a little less to be desired. It's still very well molded. You can see that the handle's bigger than it was on the smaller one. The guard is it's bigger, more pronounced than the one in the smaller version, and it is now the Thundercats logo as opposed to the Eye of Thundera. You also have a longer blade that is still, a very soft plastic, which is kind of disappointing. The fact is, I've had him displayed in kind of like a fighting pose, and I noticed that you can even see it here at this part of the blade. It's actually bent down due to its own weight, which is a very disappointing feature. I hope this isn't a common problem if Bandai decides to make more of these figures down the road. I'm not sure, but if they do, they really need to fix this issue, because having it this soft and this easy to bend, it's not a good idea. I mean, this is very soft plastic. He does, of course, come with the claw shield, which is another weapon that he had in the show. Gold paint with some really cool mold details. He has the claws, you can see there on the fingers, painted silver. And he's got the molded knuckles painted red. So, That's pretty cool. He also comes with an extra hand to hold the sword. Basically the same as the one he has on already, except for the fact that it's more closed. He also comes with this thing, which at first I was like, okay, what is this? But I know what it is. You see, there's a little ball joint inside the claw shield, which I know is kind of hard to see, especially with my camera. But if you remember from the cartoon, Lion-O would always holster the sword in the claw shield and have it on his hip. Well, you can do that here. You got a little slot in here that you can actually slide the claw inside the Sword of Omens into, and the little ball at the end of this fits into the ball joint when you're putting it on his arm. Dropped it. Now you have the peg right here, and a hole in Lion-O's hip, so you see that those two just peg together. It is a bit of a pain, at least for me, because the thing tends to fall off, but you get it on, and there you go. He's got it holstered on his hip, which is actually pretty cool. So you can have it like that if you don't want him displayed holding the Sword of Omens. But if you want to, I'm going to remove that, because it will fall off. You take off this hand, revealing the joint itself. You can go focus. You can see that you got a ball joint at the end, and it also rotates at the base and moves at the base. That's great for displaying him, but trying to get the arms on, well, the hands, it does tend to have a bit of a problem. But once you get it on, you can take the Sword of Omens in the small form first. And the light's a little... there we go. Slide it in. And there you go. Now we have Lion-O holding the Sword of Omen in its smaller kind of dagger form, as the box calls it. So that's pretty cool. You can also replace this hand. It comes off. Got my light. And you can put the claw shield on. Now the original toy, it was just a piece of plastic that clipped on over, which is what I thought they were going to do, you know, go to the route of the original. But no, they actually did this little ball joint thing where you just got to slide it in, clip it in, and there you go. So now Lion-O's got the claw shield. You can still rotate it and still articulate it. So that's also really cool. You can also take out small Sword of Omens, and you can put in the bigger one. Now, a problem I have with the bigger one is where the handle is really big. It's a big handle. I'm going to try to show it. At least on mine, the paint on the hand, it tends to actually show paint cracks when I'm trying to put in the Sword of Omens. So, I'm going to just try to show it there. Come on, focus. Keep your eye on the thumb. See? It actually is showing, if I can get it. It's hard to show on camera. There, you can kind of see it. It is actually showing paint cracks, which it does kind of worry me. I'm afraid of something happening to the hand, but I'm guessing since I'm not sliding the sword in and out of his hand, it's not going to be a big problem. But, of course, he can hold the Sword of Omens, and he can be posed with it. So there you go. He's ready to fight some mutants. And that is it for Lion-O. And to be honest, I highly, highly recommend this toy. Yes, the Sword of Omens in its long form is very soft rubber, which is kind of annoying, you know, knowing that no matter what way you pose him, he'll most likely end up bending. So, if you can look past that, the figure's still a great figure on his own. 8-inch scale means he's a pretty big figure. He's fairly articulated, very articulated, I should say, fairly well detailed. And it's just a great figure to have. All the accessories he comes with, the Sword of Omens, claw shield on the hands, this thing, I don't know what to call it, but yeah. Still a great figure to have. I'd pick him up if you can. So, hope you enjoyed this review. See you next time, everybody.